The old lamp cast a faint yellow glow, carefully pushing back the darkness. On the worn desk, marked by decades of use, lay a single white envelope and a fountain pen nearly out of ink. Sitting before it was Margaret Parker, now 65 years old. Her husband had left 40 years ago, and in all that time she had raised her only son alone. From dawn until late at night she worked tirelessly, setting aside her own dreams and happiness, living only for her child. Now, the final letter she needed to write to him lay before her. "Daniel," she whispered, her trembling hand clutching the pen. To him, she had been just a mother. But to her, he had been her entire world. Memories weighed heavily as she tried to write. Daniel had been a good son, college, career, marriage. Even the apartment he now lived in, all possible because of her sacrifices. Yet over time, his calls grew infrequent. His greetings became formal, and visits dwindled to holidays, if at all. The breaking point came last month. She had asked him to accompany her to the hospital for test results.
"Mom, I've got too many meetings,"
he said quickly, ending the call. That was when she realized she had become just another obligation. In his busy schedule, Margaret decided to let go of her long-held expectations. On her desk sat an old photo of Daniel grinning. On his first day of elementary school, she had once staked everything on raising that little boy. Now she whispered,
"I shouldn't have expected so much. I shouldn't have given so much."
That night, she resolved something new. She would no longer live only as someone's mother. She would live as Margaret Parker, a woman with her own life. Her memories stretched back to age 23, when she worked as a clerk for the railroad, and spent her first paycheck at the doctor's office, confirming the child she carried. She had believed she could manage with her husband until he walked out one night and never returned. From then on, she worked 3 jobs: mornings at a diner, afternoons packing lunches at a factory, evenings washing dishes at a Chinese takeout. She returned home past 10, exhausted, yet still helped Daniel with homework. She often stood before an empty refrigerator, wondering how to feed him, swallowing tears countless times. Daniel was a kind boy. He never demanded more than she could give. On his first day of school, he promised,
"Mom, I'll study hard and make lots of money, so you won't have to work anymore."
That innocent vow gave her strength for another decade. But as he grew older, things changed. After college, after marriage, he became busier. Phone calls shortened, birthdays passed with only a dry text message. "Mom, hope you're well. Work's busy.
I'll call when I can."
The decisive moment came one autumn. Margaret, struggling with her knees, asked Daniel to join her at the hospital.
"Sorry, Mom. Big project at work. I'll be in all weekend."
She went alone, sitting in the waiting room. She realized she truly had no one beside her anymore. Later, while staying briefly at Daniel's suburban home, she overheard her daughter-in-law's voice in the kitchen.
"How long is she staying? It's been over a week."
Daniel tried to defend her, but his wife pressed on.
"We're already tight with the mortgage. She's here like it's her own house. We should look into assisted living."
The words cut like a knife. Assisted living was no longer care, it was a way to manage her as a burden. Margaret packed her things quietly the next morning and left before anyone woke. For the first time, she searched for a place of her own. She found a small walk-up apartment in an old building in Boston. No elevator, a boiler that broke often in winter, but it was hers. A place where she owed no apologies, where she could breathe freely. Her belongings were few: some clothes, an old rice cooker, and Daniel's childhood sketchbook. In it, a crooked line of pencil read, "My mom cooks the best food, she's strong. And she loves me the most." She cried, then steadied herself. That was once true, but no longer. She would stop expecting love in return. Margaret donated part of her savings to a local charity, set aside a small fund for her granddaughter, and kept one account solely in her own name. Finally, she thought, something that is truly mine. She continued her hospital visits alone. The doctor advised, keep healthy habits, avoid stress. She nodded, knowing she had already removed the greatest source of stress from her life. One evening, she sat at her small kitchen table, eating pickled vegetables from the local market. "It's enough if I enjoy it," she whispered. Looking in the mirror, her wrinkles were deeper, her hair whiter, but her face was calmer than ever. She returned to the unfinished letter. "You may never know how deeply I loved you," she wrote. "But that's okay. Because you were my son. Because we were family." Days later, Margaret passed away quietly in her bed, without fuss. Like someone finally resting after a long journey. The landlord discovered her, after noticing milk bottles left untouched at the door. The envelope was delivered to Daniel. Sitting alone in his mother's empty apartment, he opened it. The first line read, "Daniel, you were always a good boy." Tears choked him as he read her life story, her sacrifices, her loneliness, and her final words, "I will not resent you. Instead, I will finally learn to love myself." Daniel collapsed, overwhelmed by regret. He remembered her voice asking him to go to the hospital, her sigh after he hung up, her quiet endurance. Why hadn't he noticed? Why hadn't he asked first? At her memorial, he whispered, "Mom, I'm sorry. I'll remember you properly from now on." From then on, every first Saturday of the month, Daniel visited her niche at the columbarium. He brought baby's breath flowers she had loved, and a short letter with everyday stories and gratitude. Love may not always return in equal measure, but the love given endures, even beyond time. I hope today's story conveyed emotion and realization to you. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Share your story with us. We'll tell your story to the world.